we are at Cafe Blue at the Cordon Bleu School, and tonight we're going to be having an inclusive wine dinner with winemaker Pam Lock, and it's 5 courses all paired with each one of our wines, so we're going to enjoy things tonight, and we'll let you know, probably an interview with Pam as well a little bit later on. Here we are at the Cordon Bleu School. I'm here with winemaker Steve Lock of Ecluse Wines in Paso Robles. Steve, we just had a magnificent dinner, and the food pairings were amazing. The first one we had was the Shiraz. Why don't you tell us, I heard you speaking to some of the guests about how your Shiraz paired with that food that we had.
Well, it was a mushroom, basically mushroom soup, and they actually did some truffle oil that they foamed. And I think the earthiness of the mushroom soup paired so well with the Syrah,
right.
Which has some earthy tones to it and some dark, deep fruit, and I thought it was a magnificent pairing.
Oh yeah, it was. I mean, we had it, and it was unbelievable. I think, if I'm not mistaken, was the rendition next?
No,
DSM, or it was the ensemble?
No, the rendition was next.
The rendition was next.
That's our Rhone blend, which is our Syrah based. It's vineyard designated fruit from our vineyard.
Right.
Grenache and Mourvedre, and that wine has a lot of the same components as the Syrah, but a little fruitiness from the Grenache and some spicy characters from the Mourvedre. And again, I thought Andy did a great job of pairing that, along with his chefs. They did a great job of
Oh yes, the chefs here at Cordon Bleu were amazing. Now, I mean, as far as our table, and from all of the voices we heard from around, this last wine, I mean, the third wine in the list was the ensemble.
Right.
And that was, I mean, it was magnificent. Why don't you talk about this ensemble and the awards that it's won?
The ensemble is our Bordeaux blend, and it's Cabernet Sauvignon, Petit Verdot, Merlot, and Cab Franc. And we entered it recently in the San Francisco Chronicle tasting, which is 4,200 wines, 1,500 wineries, and we won best in class for that wine, double gold best in class. And I think it brings kind of the essence of Cabernet, some of the kind of almost floral violet components of the Petit Verdot, and spice components from the Cab Franc, and fruit from the Merlot. I think it's a great wine.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I mean, that was our favorite. It was an amazing wine. I can see why it won all those awards. Now, you had the 05 Cabernet,
right,
I believe.
Right.
The fourth one?
Fourth wine, and that was estate fruit. We have about 7 or 8 acres of Cab Sauvignon on our property. And it's a couple of different clones, 337 and 08 clones. Not a whole lot of difference, but a little bit in color and so forth. And I thought the pairing on that was excellent. Paso's not as well known probably for the Cabernet Sauvignon, but I think the area that we're in, the microclimate and terroir, that it's turning out to be a super wine.
Yes, it was magnificent. Then we had kind of a surprise wine there with dessert, and it was really interesting because when Andy gave me the wine print, I said, a Zinfandel, you know, you're talking to Zinfandel for dessert, but you know, I mean, Andy knows what he's doing, you know, I know the chefs know what they're doing, so, you know, why don't you talk about this Zin, because it's very special.
It is. We don't make a lot of it. I think we have 20 cases of it left. We made about 160 or 170 cases. A lot of Zins from Paso are big wines, big alcohol, a lot of fruit, and we're doing, I think, wines that are a little more food friendly, and this Zin is a great example of that. And it was paired with a molten chocolate cake.
Yes.
As well as I think a pear tart.
The pear tart at the end, yes,
and there's a lot of, some people will drink it and think, well, there's some residual sugar in it. There is none.
No,
it's just that it's got so much fruit going for it. It's got a little sweet character to it because of that.
Well, I know, it was an amazing pair. I mean, I was really actually surprised, like I said before, when I heard it was going to be a Zin at the end, I'm like, okay. Yeah, okay, well, we'll see. 'Cause, you know, normally you think of like a port, a tawny port,
right.
or maybe a Riesling or a Gewürztraminer, maybe, but a Zinfandel said, okay, but the chefs did a great job.
They did.
With the 3 little desserts that we had. Now, why don't you tell them, how did you get involved in this whole wine making thing to begin with?
Basically, we kind of followed a friend. We've always loved wine. My wife and I have always loved wine. We came out to visit a friend in Paso Robles in 1995, and had an opportunity to join him in a vineyard project, and that fell through because the property we wanted turned out to not be available. But we were kind of hooked on the whole deal, so we continued our search, found a small piece of property that we currently have, found water, which is kind of an issue on the west side of Paso. We bought the property in '96, planted the vineyard in '98, and we still sell a lot of our fruit to small boutique wineries like ourselves. We sell Lini Colodo, we sell to Four Vines, to Chateau Margine, and a few others, and we're just having a lot of fun making wine.
That's great. So when was your actual first estate? You bought it, you said 95?
96 we bought the
96,
property,
that's right.
planted in 98, and our first vintage was in 2001.
And what did you produce?
We did about 600 cases total of Cabernet Sauvignon and Syrah.
Yes. Okay. And the other thing that we really talked about is that, Paso is such a unique place. It's really, we were talking about this earlier, we were talking during the dinner, it's really starting to become an up-and-coming
It is.
wine places, like lots. You had the big wineries, you had Robert Hall there,
right,
but now there's a bunch of smaller wineries popping up. So, where do you envision Ecluse being 5-10 years from now? Are you still going to keep with these same varietals? Are you going to experiment a little bit more with something else?
I think we'll experiment a little bit with some really small blending wines, kind of obscure in a way. Cinsault, Counois, Tannat. We'll have small plantings, maybe acre plantings of those, which will give us enough for blending. But you're right, Paso has some just superb small wineries making great wine. LaVenture, Saxum, Lini Colodo, my friend Roger Nicholas, who does RN Estates, just some really nice stuff. And there's probably, I don't know, more of the small guys than the large guys. There's Meridian and Everly and EOS, and they make, and J-Lore, they all make superb wines. It's just on a different scale that we're working.
Well, sure. Most of your wines, because I know some of the wineries that we've been, like we were talking earlier, most everything is hand done in your case as well, right? The harvesting and everything. So.
We're on a small hilly property. We really can't, even if we wanted to automate, we really couldn't. So we have like 23,000 vines to prune by hand. It takes us 5 to 10 minutes per vine to prune. Do the math on that and figure it's a long time.
It takes a long time. But see, that's the thing, and I really, in closing, you, the smaller vineyards, you guys put a lot of love and labor into your wines.
Indeed.
And you can really taste it. And I'm not saying anything bad about the automated guys, because those are good too, but you can really taste the effort and the love you put into your wines, and we're definitely going to come by when you're up there in the Paso area. We suggest, if you do, call Ecluse. We're going to put a link on the website to you guys. You can stop by, make an appointment, and taste some of these beautiful wines. You also want to thank the Cordon Bleu.
And they did a great job.
They did. Amazing. The students, fabulous. The students did a fantastic job. Many of them volunteered to be here tonight.
They all did.
Yeah, they all did, exactly. To be here tonight, but that's what it's all about. The food and wine industry is about passion and about love about what you're doing, whether you're with the wine or on the food end, it pairs together. So, Steve, we just want to thank you very much.
Thank you for
spending time with us, and we look forward to visiting you in Paso Robles.
We're looking forward to it.
Thank you. Have a good day.